So, welcome to our very first powerful session of the day, Cultivating Workplace Excellence by Incredible Workplaces. In a rapidly shifting work ecosystem, how do we build workplaces that are not just productive, but also inclusive, sustainable, and human first? Get ready to explore what truly sets incredible workplaces apart. Places where people don't just work, they thrive. Let's watch this short video to see what makes incredible workplaces truly exceptional.
Imagine a workplace where every employee feels valued, engaged, and inspired. Welcome to Incredible Workplaces, where exceptional work cultures are recognized and celebrated. Incredible Workplaces is dedicated to evaluating and certifying organizations that prioritize employee well-being, engagement, and inclusivity. Our assessments are grounded in the PULSE framework, promoting values and beliefs, unified communication, leadership development, supportive environment, and environment for innovation and adaptability. We offer 2 certification levels: Gold, focusing on self-evaluation, and Platinum, which includes comprehensive employee feedback for a holistic view of your workplace culture. Achieving certification enhances your employer brand, attracts top talent, and fosters a culture of continuous improvement. Beyond certification, we provide access to exclusive events, best practices, and a community committed to workplace excellence. Our certification programs are competitively priced to provide value for organizations of all sizes. Join the ranks of organizations committed to excellence. Visit IncredibleWorkplaces.com to start your certification journey today.
Super excited that we are Incredible Workplaces certified.
We are feeling pride to be certified as Incredible Workplace Organization.
We are very happy to be certified from Incredible Workplace.
Feeling proud to be recognized as Incredible Workplace Certified Organization.
Let's create workplaces incredible with Incredible Workplaces. Thank you.
To kick off the session into an insightful conversation, I now invite Incredible Workplaces led by moderator Vibha Rawat and our esteemed panel of speakers. Vibha Rawat is the Vice President, People and Culture at Incredible Workplaces. Vibha is a transformative HR leader with hands-on experience in shaping high-impact people strategies and inclusive cultures, a trusted advisor and a growth catalyst. She drives future-ready HR solutions that empower individuals and elevate organizational excellence. Let's explore strategies to craft the workplace of tomorrow, one that thrives on empathy, innovation, and adaptability. Now, I welcome Vibha, an esteemed panelist, onto the stage. Over to you, Vibha.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction, Poonam. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone who has joined us from around the world. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today and to moderate what promises to be a dynamic and thought-provoking conversation. We are truly at a pivotal moment in the world of work, and today's dialogue couldn't be more timely. The panel is especially exciting because we are joined by trailblazing HR leaders from the United Arab Emirates, a region which is globally recognized for its agility, innovation, and progressive approach to people and culture. These leaders are not only shaping workplaces today, but actively reimagining what HR should look like tomorrow. Our theme for today is Adapting to Change, HR Strategies for the Workplace of Tomorrow. In the next 45 minutes, we'll explore how HR is evolving in response to digital disruption, shifting workplace expectation, and the growing need for agility, empathy, and innovation in leadership. So without any further ado, let me introduce the remarkable panelists joining us today, each bringing deep insights, real world experience, and a future forward mindset. But before I introduce them, I would open a poll for my audience to participate in. You'll get this poll on your screen. Please do participate and share your feedback with us. Let's now meet the brilliant minds behind today's conversation. I'll be introducing our panelists one by one, each of whom brings a wealth of expertise and a unique lens on HR transformation. Starting with someone who's redefining the way of organizations attract and develop talent. Please welcome Shivani Deshpande, founder of Talent Nest Consulting. Shivani is a dynamic entrepreneur and a seasoned talent strategist known for her innovative work in leadership development and future-focused hiring. Joining us next is a leader at the intersection of analytics, compensation, and digital transformation, Manish Singh. Manish brings a data-driven approach to HR, helping build smarter and more responsive people strategies. Up next is someone who brings a panoramic view of HR evolution, Abhishek David, a seasoned HR leader with vast experience across industries. Abhishek has deep expertise in organizational effectiveness and strategic HR transformation. We are also joined by Soumya Sethi, a highly respected HR leader known for her human-centric leadership style. Soumya has led inclusive, high-performing cultures and bring valuable insights on how to nurture adaptability across teams. Next, we have Rajeshri Vichare, a strategic global HR and people transformation leader. Rajeshri is a transformation coach with a track record of enabling culture shifts and aligning people practices with global business goals. And rounding off this stellar panel is Razia Khatun, head of human resources and a strategic HR leader known for aligning people priorities with business outcomes. Razia has a sharp focus on building purposeful future-aligned HR frameworks, driving impactful HR transformation, and building agile, future-focused people strategy. A warm welcome to all our panelists and thank you for being here. I know it wasn't easy. It's a Saturday and it's an early time for you, but thank you for taking your time and joining us from so far. I'm excited to get started and let's dive right into our first question. Let's begin with you, Shivani. As a founder and someone deeply immersed in the talent landscape, your perspective sets a tone for today's discussion. My question to you is, as a founder and talent strategist, what shifts do you believe HR leaders must make today to build future-ready organizations, especially in the context of leadership development and evolving talent expectations? So we are eager to hear your take on how HR can stay ahead in shaping talent and what's next.
Thank you so much, Vibha, for this interesting question because all of us are going through a dynamic transformation, as I love to call it. And thank you for waking a lot of us on Saturday to have this amazing discussion. So I'm looking forward to hearing from everyone today. So, particularly for the question that you've asked, I mean, if I think about it, uh, as a leader or as someone or all of us who own teams who actually have a bigger number working for us, I think there are three key points or three fundamental shifts that us as HR leaders could potentially start adding to our working pattern. First one I believe is the mind shift from process centric approach to a people centric leadership. I think that's important because as leaders, we are no longer focusing just on a title or just on your previous experience. I think we have moved our mind and thought process in looking at candidates or potential team members who have the agility, who have the adaptability to be a part of the team. So I feel investing in personalized experiences or experiential leadership development within the company or the organization is supremely important in today's world. It could also be probably enabling my staff to grow and upskill more on the job rather than them looking out for these kind of options and upskilling themselves externally. The second shift I feel, which is crucial for all of us as leaders, is to go from talent retention to talent empowerment. I think the first challenge that comes is, oh, I need to hire the right person. Now, assuming that I've already done that, I need to retain the person. So as instantly I'm going to start thinking about monetary benefits, commissions, incentives. But I think the talent is looking for something more than a paycheck these days. I think they're looking at the purpose, they're looking at their growth, they're looking at something non-monetary as well, where they get to be loyal to the organization. But we as leaders need to give them that path also to stay back and learn something. I highly believe in doing a lot of cross-functional projects for my team as well, because that gives them the exposure to learn something more and then come back to the same role and probably be more enthusiastic about it. That's just one way to look at it. And I think lastly, I would say all of us as HR leaders, we need to move from a traditional workforce planning to like a dynamic talent ecosystem. Why don't we all come together and try to build an ecosystem which not only gives safety and security, but it also gives them lifetime experiences. We give them a space where they can be innovative. Why be authoritative and why not let my team decide sometimes? How about we all move to that kind of a mindset? So I think these days, future ready, when we say future ready, so I don't think HR is just sticking to a strategic perspective, but we are all moving towards the people first approach. And from my brand as well, I focus a lot on how we can give people centric solutions. My people come first. I've read it somewhere that people is business, business is not people. So as simple as that.
Thank you, Shivani. I think that these are wonderful, wonderful points. And I think this is the need of our, wherein leaders understand that, retention is not only done through compensation change or, giving promotion. It's more of listening to your employees, empowering them, and continuously giving an area for them to, upskill themselves so that they are also future ready. So great
Absolutely.
insights, great insight. I think everybody on the panel and the audience would agree that how important it has become for the workforce to have a mindset of agility and adaptation. So if they are having that kind of a mindset, they stay more relevant to the industry and for future work also. So thank you for sharing those insights. Those was lovely,
Thank you.
lovely, and I think a lot of information through those. All right. Now, moving to you, Manish, you operate at the exciting crossroad of compensation, technology, and analytics, all key drivers of change in HR today. And I know how important it is. And with your expertise in HR tech and people analytics, how can an organization use data and digital tools to anticipate change and drive smarter people first HR decisions? We would be keen to hear from you how you use the data and digital tools shaping a more forward-looking people-centric HR function.
Thanks for the question, Vibha. And thank you for inviting me on this panel. Very happy to be part of the incredible workplaces. See, for the longest time, HR was always seen as a people function. But what's exciting now is that AI, and which is helping us to understand people in ways we couldn't earlier, which is much deeper, much faster, and more meaningful. Uh, so let me break this into a few practical shifts that we're seeing. So first of all, what we are getting is a very clearer view of our people. Not just what they do, but also what they are doing right now. So thinking of a real-time engagement data, burnout signals, even a predictive analysis around the attrition, etc. This gives the management or the organization very meaningful insights to take actions. To give you a real-time example, at Aster, we started noticing patterns around stress when we were looking at our frontline obsession sessions. What we did, we focused on doing multiple wellness interventions specifically for the nursing team. And what we understood was that it was not only during the sessions that we got to know, but it was a long, overdue conversations which the people were looking for ahead for. The second, the way things are changing is in terms of how we look at our workforce planning. All organizations nowadays are moving towards more cost optimization. They look at how we can get done more through less. And the use of automation and AI is making it more meaningful. So it's helping us not only to look at your headcount or attrition, but also to forecast in terms of what your future would be. Looking at various redundant, repetitive tasks, automations, or a strategic deployment of your people based on the skills that is needed at the workplace. Taking Amazon as an example, I was reading somewhere they created some training programs specifically for the warehouse people, looking at how the jobs will evolve in the future. For us, we have been using automations in multiple ways. Either it is, automating in UA, we have this visa thing, right? How do we automate this visa management process? So we have been using RPAs around that. We are also exploring right now in the exploration stage of how we can look at various AI agents which can help us in our pre-screening, candidate outreach, or maybe voice-based hiring interactions. So this is something that we're exploring right now. From the workforce management perspective, it helps our nursing team or the nursing leaders specifically to look at redeployment of our nursing basis the patient equity. So you're seeing how skill-based data on the system is helping us to look at, what kind of patient will be, catered by what kind of nurses, right? Basis the skills. The third big shift, I think, is on the employee experience. The way we look at personalization on, Netflix or Amazon, people are looking at personalization even at every employee intervention that we do. So whether we are looking at retraining people, or we are looking at the personalized compensation models, right? So I think the major shift has been around these three. From the leadership angle of things, as there are more data and dashboards available, it helps them to understand from the organization context how the diversity is, how the pay equity is, how the engagement is, and where exactly do they need to focus on if they see any kind of lag. The last piece that I wanted to suggest, I think, to all the fellow leaders here is that what we need to understand is that we need to start small. It's not that everything we'll be able to do on the first day, but how do we start small, use the data that we already have to look at trends, to look at issues, and actually build a workforce for tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Manish. And I couldn't agree more on this. Somebody with expertise like you on data have given such an insightful thought with the example and real-time stories. I know it's very important for HR to stay updated, understand data, and bring that analysis to your CEO. CEO today needs HR to be, participating in the business, and there is where they look forward to having those insights through the data. I think that's very, very important for HRs to also stay relevant, right? So those kind of analysis and data approach that you talked about, if we adapt to them and if we go forward with them, I think we'll bring a lot of value to business and the organization itself. And here we are not working on a reactive method, but a proactive method wherein we understand and we predict and we are prepared for what is happening next. So thank you so much for sharing that and sharing real-time stories, talking about how personalization is important, how important it becomes that employee need that experience. So thank you for talking on those points. All right. My next question is for you, Abhishek. You have led through different business cycles across industries and have witnessed the evolution of function firsthand. In today's world, where change is constant and often overwhelming, HR's role is more complex than ever. So my question to you is, you have seen HR evolve over the years, right? you have experienced, how can HR leaders balance organization transformation with empathy and culture continuity during the time of rapid change? And we are keen to hear from you how you see that balance being stuck, especially when both speed and sensitivity is expected from the HR.
So, if I will, thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me to this panel, and I mean, really contributing to this is a great achievement to be in. And just to dwell on this, that balancing organization transformation and balancing with what we call it with the cultural continuity or empathy lies in primarily as we lead these changes, as we move towards making change in the organization, we do these changes with the and not at them. So and that's the core of it, right? Because every transformation in the organization, every change in the organization brings in some level of disruption, right? It's not easy. New structures, expectation, things are changing, geopolitical situations happening all across in and around us, and we see those changes every day. And how do people in the organization feel about it? Do they feel changes and transformation, and during these change process, do they feel valued? Do they feel heard? Do they feel connected that they are doing something meaningful to drive the changes? So as a HR leader, I actually jot down 3 or 4 points, and then I see that playing out more and more into practice is that first one is that how do we anchor all of these change, all of these transformation to the purpose and not to the process? As much as it is important to decide which AI tool is important, which digital enablement is important, which process level agility is important, it is also important that we bring in alignment of all of this to the why of the organization. Why do we exit? Why do we need to bring those changes, right? So purpose basically provides a stability to these system shift which will happen post transformation and change. So it's very, very important that we root in everything to the purpose of the organization, and that's where we will bring in all the generations together, right? As we know, the Gen Zs look for purpose in the organizations. If we drive everything through that, then we are going to bring in more people across to support us. uh, Second key important point is how do we design empathy in every stage, right? uh, we overlook empathy as a very key element because it's soft, right? And it's not part of the strategy. The process, product, all of these things needs to change, right? But when restructuring is happening, when upskill is happening, reskilling is happening across organization, how am I listening to people? Am I closing those feedback loops which is coming from the employees about the changes and all of that, which brings in a lot of business input as well, so that people don't resist. So ideally, people don't resist change. What they resist is that they are unseen. They are not heard in that process of change, right? So it's very, very important. I was reading a very interesting research recently, and they were primarily coming up to see that what is that one thing in the empathetic sense important in an organization. And very interestingly, something came up with my scholar search was leadership empathetic disposition. So how is my leader's empathetic disposition when it comes to bringing change? Is my leader driving culture of collaboration, psychological safety in the organization? Because if my leaders are not able to drive those who are creating those strategy, transformation, and change, they will intentionally or unintentionally not going to take care of that element of empathy, basically not be listening, and will not be able to later drive trust and a sustained success, right, in terms of achieving the implementation. uh, on top of all of this, right, as an organization, we are the an HR, we are the custodian of culture, right? We are there to drive those values and culture in the organization. Essence to it is that as these changes are evolving, unfolding, we will not be able to protect our culture. We have to evolve, we have to change, and we have to make change retaining the organization's core identity, right? So as much as I work for a BFSI, my work is to cater as a bank or as a financial service provider, as Manish it is to provide care. Those core identity will still remain, and on top of it, we have to evolve to get in our cultural perspective to create new identities. So a true transformation will only happen when we are not just shifting the system, the processes, but also the hearts stay engaged. And and I feel that HR has earned that place over the course of time, right? As we represent people, we are not just change enablers, we are the culture carriers, we are the human compass in the organization to showcase where the organization is going. And I feel more than ever, these are the times, and right now, and maybe the future is where HR has to be a much more forward looking function than actually looking at the previous data and taking decision across. So this is from my side to the panel and to the audience here.
Thank you so much, Abhishek, for sharing this perspective and touching on the high points, which are very, very important. I would say you mentioned that HR are culture carriers. Of course, they are. But I believe that HR has one more responsibility of holding people accountable, holding leaders accountable of building and carrying this culture, right? Because it always comes through the leaders. They have to lead by examples. And you said right, we talk a lot about giving feedback. It's not only giving feedback, but closing the loop. It's very, very important. So at Incredible Workplaces, this is what we share with the leaders that, you are taking feedback. Acknowledge that feedback, and then, you have to close the loop. Do not leave the end loose like that. You have to, close it. Very well said that whenever we are doing change in the organization, it should not be just for process or policies, but it should be done with purpose, and people should know why behind that, right? If people are engaged, I think there will be no such a disruption. There will be no that burnout feeling, or they would not feel that they are not part of it. They would feel they are included in this change, and they would do their best. So well said that it's not only everything that we need to stay together, but it's hard that needs to be engaged. So through all of the steps that you shared, I think this stands out that we should take care of people, we should empower them, and we should always make their heart engaged. So thank you for sharing that perspective. All right, Soumya, I would love to bring you in now. With your people first leadership experience, this next topic is something I know you champion deeply. From your perspective, now the question to you is, from your perspective, how can HR team build a culture that supports continuous learning and adaptability, especially when change is fatigue is real? This change fatigue is real across many organizations. We would love to hear your take on this.
Thank you so much, Vibha, for that brain tickling question, and lovely morning, afternoon to everyone. Um, and when you say this question, Vibha, the first thing which instantly come to my mind, and I'm sure all of us would have heard it at some point of life, is the only constant in life is change. Yeah. So when you talk about change fatigue, let me first get into what causes change fatigue, which I'm sure most of us have experienced it at some point of time in our journey. So the three common, which I believe changes which happens in an organization, first is due to maybe mergers and acquisition. Second is any kind of digital transformation. And third is really any kind of structural or cultural changes. Now, I'm sure each one of us have faced at least one of it. I have faced all three of it. So I know, and change is change, it makes us uncomfortable because we as human, we are not used to the unknown, so it really makes us uncomfortable. Now, what causes the change fatigue? These are the changes which happens. What causes the change fatigue, especially in the time and era wherein we stay now, where AI is the big word nowadays. A lot of technological evolutions which is happening, and we stay in an era where different generations are there. So from generation X, Y, Z, when I go back to, I can give my personal example. My mom, when the whole WhatsApp thing started, she was not really, comfortable. And we have such people in our organization. So for them, for everyone, the technological changes is different. For maybe for Gen Z, it's not that much. Whereas for Gen X, it is that much, right? Now, let me deep down one by one on the three examples which I gave on. So first is merger and acquisition. So when that happens, we as an HR, we have this responsibility to ensure, the processes between the mother company and the acquired company comes under that. So how do we do that? Here we have to be inclusive, we have to be empathetic, and we have to also be mindful that one size doesn't fit all. Right? So we are very inclusive. We take feedback, we run those cultural cafes, learn from best of both the worlds, and somewhere find a mid ground where people feel included, people feel heard. When you do that, automatically the change doesn't look like something which is uncomfortable. It looks like, yes, I can navigate this, and it is good with the bigger picture is the organization in the mind. The second thing which I quoted, the digital transformation. It could be a lot of IT companies are there where, for example, engineers have to go through a lot of the new requirement. There is a new requirement. I have to learn this course, that course, AI course. In AI also there are so many, and we are all still learning. And same goes for us as an HR as well. Psychometric test, L&D, this, that, everything. So upskilling is something is which is deep rooted. Now, what happens is in digital transformation is when you say to the employees, we have designed this, you have to do it. They won't own it. So somewhere we have to shift the narrative and saying, don't look it as an obligation, but look it as an empowerment. We are empowering you. When you do that, automatically they are co-owners with us. We as an HR, we are catalyst. The onus is not on us. We work hand in hand with everyone, the employees, the C-suite. So we need everyone together to ensure that change happens. And when you make, like you rightly said, Vibha, accountability, when you make it accountable, automatically they own it. And then even in digital transformation, creating collaborative spaces where you give them that safe space. When employees feel psychologically safe, they feel okay, it's okay to experiment, where they can share some new things which they have discovered, which someone else don't know. Those kind of safe spaces, which really helps in driving that digital transformation. And last but not the least, which is the cultural and structural changes, which I'm sure it's part of the business. It happens, it's unavoidable. So how do we ensure it is subtle and everyone is included in that? Firstly, telling them what's in it for them, showing them the bigger picture, how this will positively help the organization and positively help the employees in their own personal growth or personal trajectory. So overall, and there is a lot when you talk about change fatigue, it's an endless topic, but I thought these are the three big ticket items which everyone goes through it, irrespective of whichever industry they belong to. So like I said, as an HR, when we understand the culture, the change fatigue, and try to build the culture around it, which is primarily shifting the narrative from an obligation to empowerment, like in the case of digital transformation, creating a collaborative space, and celebrating the success. It is equally important, because people want to be seen, no matter whichever generation they are. Maybe the modes of how they want to be seen is different, but people want to be. When you applaud them publicly, automatically you have their buy-in. And last but not the least, HR is not the sole owner of culture. And onus is not just on us, it is everybody, right from the C-suite. We need sponsors, and then also the employees. So it's all hand in hand together. Thank you.
You, Soumya. I think you have put this very well, point on point, and I agree. And I think everybody in this session would agree how important this is, and you made it easy for us to understand. I completely understand that one size does not fit all, and everybody have their own capacity and capability, and we should respect that and treat people with respect and empathy. That's very, very important. And you rightly said, people need to feel that they are included. When we give them a why behind that change, and we show what it is going to impact and how is it going to impact and what is in for them, I think they feel included and they would not resist that change. We should not always show change as something that is a burden on them, but something which is empowering for them as well, and then giving them the safe space as well. So very well said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Let's turn to you now, Rajshri. With your global transformation experience and strategic lens, this question is tailored for your view on what's next for HR. You bring a global and strategic lens to HR transformation. What are the top two capabilities you believe HR must build now to stay ahead of workforce disruption in the next 5 years? Looking forward to hearing what you believe HR should prioritize most.
Thank you so much, Vibha. And I'd like to also extend my great appreciation to all our fellow panel speakers who've touched base every single point with such an impact and reality on the ground. Now, coming to your question, Vibha, having been able to scale and work across almost 14 countries globally in my entire tenure of 2 decades in HR leadership, today I want to speak very authentically to sort of touch base on one element or vector called as organization development, which is in simple terms known as OD. Um, I am talking about OD to a lot of us in HR world or even business, enterprise leaders. This particular vector comes across as a cream in the HR infrastructure, right? And it sort of saddens me when I deep dive and take on projects, and even during my global leadership in-house roles, it is considered to be cream, whereas the fact is that it's the soul of any people-driven organization, right? Having said that, looking at all of the disruption that's happening and considering not just SWOT but pestle analysis, looking at from AI integrations and the shift that the global talent models HR is going through right now, we all have been equipped very strongly to adapt with all and ever evolving era in whatever comes across for HR leaders. And I say this with utter confidence is because we were the ones who were go to when the COVID unprecedented times hit us, right? So we all have now rolled up our sleeves and we are ready, and we try and stay ahead of the curve. Having said that, I hear a lot of buzzword on transformation, right? Also speaking and interacting to business leaders, including HR, capability functions and so on and so forth. It sort of remains as an underlying topic to know what really transformation means. When I say that, I'm here to sort of address and talk about these two critical skills that I would want to endorse and promote across all our HR leadership at a global level is number one being organization design for agility and not for hierarchy. It is time that we don't just look at designing org charts, department functions, pyramids, and so on and so forth. Why I say what I say is because today's workplace needs HR to think like enterprise architects, designing organizations that are not only efficient but resilient and responsive is the need of an hour. I am talking about, giving you one of the live examples in one transformation initiative where I had to replace the rigid function based departments with value driven squads. and strategic priorities. Now, this shift alone didn't just reduce the time to market by 30%, but it also unleashed new levels of leadership, which were future ready for the organization among the mid level talent who could now think and act like business owners. This is the new face of OD, not restructuring for compliance or cost or anything to do with bottom line, but reconfiguring for innovation and velocity. This is one skill I would promote and endorse very heavily for our HR leaders to sort of hone and engrave it and even deeply study about it. A lot of information is present online, to even speak about what Oracle AI is doing. A lot of free content is available for HR leaders to even grasp and understand this mechanism and add value internally, in-house whilst you're at work. The second very most important thing would be for HR, or the vector that all our HR leaders at any given level and capacity needs to today have, is being AI enabled, human centered talent architecture. So when I say this, I emphasize always that yes, AI is a lot that we are hearing about, and well, that's where we are today. But being human centered is very, very essential in today's point in time. I had watched one of the reels, which was from Simon Sinek. He was speaking with Brilliant Talks, and he mentioned that there will be a time in about 2 or 3 years duration where we will be craving that human interaction and interface and solution providing, because the AI and the entire world of ChatGPT dependency will increase so much that we will be wanting. What is your perspective? Today we are trying and fetching answers on tuck, this is the question, what does ChatGPT want to tell us, right? And then we put forward whatever, and I'm being very honest and transparent about it. But that time is very near where we will crave that human attention and so on and so forth. And what I want to endorse is, as HR leaders, let's not kill it. Let's not be that dependent on AI. And although endorse it for efficiency purposes, use it for the best of the benefits of the companies or employees or careers, but don't lose that human centered architecture. One example that I'd like to cite in here, in a global workforce planning initiative, we were able to deploy AI to identify future skill gaps. I'm talking 5 years from today. Now imagine where, now interlinking to OD, where I spoke about having our organization structure based on innovation, and now looking at a business plan. We were not in a position to predict or, even do budget and analysis for during the COVID times for 3 years down the lane, because we didn't know the pestle or the economics that would revolve around multiple industry sectors, right? But in today's time, we are now smart. We are enabling AI and tools and technologies that are going to give us the forecasting already, which is going to make us future ready. So this is where looking at the gaps, the kind of AI fluency HR needs, not just being tech savvy but ethically grounded in the business, and alignment is a must have. Final word from my side, for everyone that's present here, is that HR is no longer back office. It's the engine room of transformation. So the future belongs to those who can blend analytics with empathy, design with agility, and tech with purpose. That's where our strategic power truly lies. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rajeshri, for leaving us with that thought. And this will be a long time in our minds that, HR has to come as enterprise architect. And thank you for touching on such important point and aspect. And I think AI is always an enabler, and we should see as an enabler. And I think we have already started craving for that human touch. And in coming times, it's going to be very heavy one for all of us. All right. And now it's time for our final panelist, Razia. Razia, you operate at the heart of strategy and people, making this question the perfect one to wrap up with. You work at the intersection of strategy and people. What has helped you ensure alignment between business goals and evolving employee expectation in this era of constant change? We would love to hear your experience.
First of all, thank you, Eva, for inviting me to this panel and for putting up this interesting question. And it was indeed a pleasure to listen to all the insightful feedback from our panel members. Now, coming back to the question, which is about how to align the business goals with the evolving employee expectations. Yes, now what we are facing is a seismic shift in the world of work. Why I say that? Because now we are in the digital transformation phase. We have different mindsets of people working together. We have generational shifts. We have different working models. Having worked in UAE for almost 2 decades now, and also being a SHRM SAP certified, what I have felt is that we need, as HR leaders, to align ourselves towards the intersection of people and strategy. This is the need of the hour now. We cannot be away from it. We have to face the reality. Now, for me, having worked in different corporates in UAE, I have realized that people pillar is the first and foremost. And then that is followed by profitability, that is followed by efficiency, productivity. So we need to put humans in human resources first. That is first and foremost. Now, in the entire employee life cycle, we need to understand where we have the touch points of employees. There may be starting from the onboarding process to the performance appraisal to learning and development, employee engagement, till the exit process. So we have to figure out what are the touch points when it comes to a strategic level of operating as a HR leader. Having reviewed your question, I have 3 key points. We failed initially. Okay, it is not that we come up with a robust measure and we start to implement it like a rocket science. No, we have failed and we have come up with 3 very critical measures which have really practically implemented in organizations, and it has turned out to be very effective. Now, the first thing is that how human resources is placed right at the beginning of the decision making process. Are we at the table where the decisions are made, the culture is established, the future is determined for an organization? What happens is that when operations and the business goals are decided, HR is considered as a support function. Okay, we'll step in later. At this time, we have to step in right at the time, right on the table where decisions are made, right from the critical point, right from the pivot point. So, visionary leadership is where we sit at the table, we sit with business leaders, and we say, okay, we have to work hand in hand. And practically, I've applied this where we as HR have been into the KPI setting process, into the corporate KPI setting process. And when we establish as HR itself, in the KPI setting process, we bring about great results eventually because it really helps you to transfer it into very tangible people related goals. Okay, so it may be upskilling of the people, it may be workforce planning, it may be cultural shifts. So people are engaged right from the beginning because HR is sitting at the table where business goals are established. So pivot is very important for HR. The second very interesting thing is that we need to be very continuous learners and listeners. What do I mean by this point is that we have practically implemented listening points with the people, with the employees. What are these? The pulse surveys have really been effective. Now, last year we implemented pulse surveys and we implemented it in different languages because diversity of workforce, we work with people as big as 200 multinationals. Okay, so diversity of people is catered. When we introduced the pulse surveys, we introduced it into various languages: English, Hindi, Urdu, French, Tagalog, numerous languages. People, when they fill the surveys, we came to understand that people are listened to. They brought about their pain points, and then the HR sits down and says, oh my God, these are also the pain points which we need to address to, which we never thought of hearing. So, right from the boardroom till the break room, HR has to be present, continuously learning. So, when employees feel listened to, then they align themselves to the business goals. And the third very critical point is that how HR introduces very flexible frameworks. In my practical implementation, when we introduce very flexible working models with the people, we ensure that they are personalized, focused based intervention learning models for them. They feel that they are a part of the company, they feel valued, they feel heard, they feel very loyal. And what happens as a result is that they completely go as per the business outcomes. They're aligned to the business outcomes and the corporate KPIs. So when I see that what employee value proposition I give to the employee, when I take care of these people through the HR pivot, through the continuous listener and flexible frameworks, I get results that are aligned to the business model. So it's a beautiful ecosystem which we are developing and which we have been successfully implementing. The results are wonderful, I must say, in the organizations which really practically apply these three things. So, summarizing everything, I would say that we need to build an ecosystem where people pillar is the first and foremost, and we hear out to the people because that is the way we align our people to the strategic business goals. So that is it from me. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Razia. I think that's a very, very important point, aligning people to this strategy. And I think it goes hand in hand. And I love that line that, from boardroom to break room, HR needs to be everywhere and be an equal participant. Thank you. I think this was a wonderful conversation. I do not want to put a pause and end it, but time doesn't permit me. So I just want to stay with this and move toward my closing. I would say this was really, really enriching and insightful conversation, and a heartfelt thank you to each of our incredible panelists for generously sharing your time, your perspective, and your stories. You have sparked ideas and provided actionable insights that will surely resonate with our audience long time after the session ends. As we have seen today, HR is no longer a support function. It's a driving force behind business resilience, employee well-being, and cultural transformation. Whether it's embarrassing tech, nurturing leadership, or designing for adaptability, HR leaders are the architect of workplaces that thrive through change. And on behalf of Incredible Workplaces, thank you once again to our speakers and to everyone who has joined us around from the world. Let's continue to build, adapt, and lead with purpose together. Thank you.
So I must say it was an incredible power-packed session. Thank you everyone for an insightful session. Now we will be moving on to our second panel discussion, which is Mentorship Matters by Mentigood.